Maybach O, 1320 host and contributor Olivia Christian here with us on D'Lo and KC. I guess it's your turn. We've been frustrated and agitated at the fact that they not only lost last night, and losing, it's part of the game. It was an important game for the New Orleans Pelicans too. They lost by 30, dude. Like they weren't even competitive last night. And it's been pointed out, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on how you feel about this. It felt like, to many of us, they rolled over and died last night.
Yeah, it felt like that to me too. And hi, everybody. Thanks for It's been a busy couple of days. I wanted to give myself time to listen to what you were talking about before I came on air. But
no, we were just gonna bring you in as soon as I see you. It's like, O's here. We're gonna keep waiting. We can just bring you in here. You know, we talking Kings basketball.
You know, we're talking about the Golden Girls and single.
We're either talking Kings basketball or we're talking the Golden Girls. Did you hear that breakdown earlier, by the way?
The breakdown of what?
I know my best
the
work.
Golden Girls, Living Single, and Friends.
How they're all connected?
Well, we got you. We got you. Hang on. We'll get that. We'll get that for later. We'll get that for later. It's a hell of a. It's probably Kenny's finest work on the show.
Thank you.
To be honest, it's solid. It's solid. So we'll get that.
Got my bag there. Got my Gucci bag.
You did. What was Mark's? Oh, Mark had a crazy one last night.
He said something about waves.
Waves in a do rag. Yeah, he's on a wave like a do rag or something like that. Was.
I love Mark Jones so much. I love his little. I don't even know what you call it. I love, one of my favorites is he got in his bag like the fries are at the bottom. I'm like, It's exactly how I am. Just
who can't relate to that? Come on now.
Exactly. I love
We have all dug to the bottom of the bag for fries. We all have.
Yeah, he's a favorite of mine. That was one that I was like, I sat with that do-rag one for a while. I'm like, wow, how does this guy come up with this stuff?
You got bars, man.
Bars. He might have a list. Like, I'm just going to get these out tonight at some point. I'm going to use these. These are too good.
That was so good. I have to believe that was written on a notepad somewhere near him. That was such a great line. And it's also so specific because I have to imagine there were plenty of people watching. I don't understand. I don't get it. What does that mean? Brett Napier would never say anything like that. I don't know what that is.
Well, that's the other reason why I like that he does it. He's just like, I'm going to say what I have to say.
Oh, Mark's for the culture. Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, Mark is for the culture.
I think Katie every now and then is kind of like, great.
Yeah, Mark. Sure. Like a do-rag. Yeah, definitely. Like 10 minutes ago, before I sidetracked you, I asked you about the Kings quitting. So, did it feel like to you that the Kings quit last night?
It did, and I want to apologize. My internet may be a little janky. You sound a little nutballs to me, but if I'm coming in on the radio, okay, maybe you can just give me a nod here.
I think you sound marvelous to me. It's actually the lighting that's quite. It got me thinking I'm taking some sort of drug I've never tried before. But we're getting word from the studio. You sound fantastic.
Okay, let's go with that. Sorry, everybody who's watching on YouTube or Twitch. But yes, I felt like they gave up, and it was incredibly disappointing because, of course, the first half was amazing. They shot really well, but the challenge with that was they weren't pulling away at any point. So like if they're not separating themselves by the time we get to the third quarter, it's likely that they're going to crumble, and that's what happened. So you can shoot. Harrison Barnes was throwing them up. Everyone's feeling good, and they were doing it in a way where they were creating opportunities for people because they were passing. They were hustling up and down the court. They were getting early shots shots early on in the count. As I say all the time, like I want to see a couple of passes before you jack one up. And they were being successful. But again, they weren't pulling away. So it's like if they didn't stick with the game plan, they clearly were just gonna, give up if it got too tight. And that's what happened. And it got too tight. They felt the pressure. I don't know what they were actually thinking, but you could see it in their body language as the Pelicans kept, adding to their lead. The fight didn't show up for the Kings. They just kept looking like they were feeling more and more defeated, like death by 1,000 cuts. They were getting more and more defeated as the game went on to the point where it's like, we don't even care. When's it going to end?
Yeah, that was disappointing to see. And it was a certain level of lack of focus and lack of awareness um, that I felt also took over with them. I go back to the point I think there's about 8 minutes to go in the third quarter, 5-point game. The Aaron Fox is at the free throw line. He misses the free throw. Trey Lyles gets the ball, tries to put it back, misses it. And we go from that point to immediately being down 9 after back-to-back possessions for the Pelicans. And then, like, next thing you know, it's like a 15, 20-point game. And they call a timeout when the lead gets to 9. I thought the game was over at that point. I just had a feeling like, oh, here we go. But that should have been the time right there where they refocus. They reassess, hey, we know where this could go if we're not careful here. Let's stay locked in. Let's stay on the same page and make sure this 9 doesn't turn into 17. We take it back down to 4 or something like that. And just not being able to do that in that spot when you see it, you're staring at it right in front of you. That was tough to take in as a Kings fan, because it's like, man, you guys have been here, man. You know what this could turn into, and you let it happen again.
Wait, Kenny, they did take a timeout at 9 points?
They did take a timeout at that point, yeah.
I'm like, I fast forwarded through the commercial. I may have missed that because I remember, and I might be remembering incorrectly, that it had gone up a little, like to 17 before we got a timeout.
There was another time. So after the timeout, they actually, I think, got it back to 4 after a couple free throws, and then it just went haywire after that.
Yeah, I wonder what. It's confusing to me, right? There's a number of guys who played last night that haven't been Kings for very long. So does it come like, it's like, is this are we vexed? Was there, some kind of voodoo put on? Like, how do you just walk into the organization, all of a sudden adapt that same methodology where when struggle hits, all of a sudden you go up like that? Like, what happened to what you were doing before? We were all game, but I don't know. I don't know what that was about. It's disappointing, obviously, because that was a must win. Mm-hmm. And they had such momentum going and excitement. I mean, it was only one game early in the week, but that's kind of what the Kings get. You get one win, you got to build on that momentum. Momentum counts when we just get a W. And it's harder. I feel like tonight it'll be harder to get up for a game like tonight when you lost like last night.
Well, that's where it's shame on us too, because we were talking about, and the truth is, they could have won last night's game. The fact is, we could have, been really happy about it for about an hour, but the next 3 hours of the show would have been about how much they need to win tonight's game, because it was very much a package deal. It wasn't a, hey, just get one of these. You need to win, or you needed to win both of them, because both of these teams that you're playing, the Pelicans and the Spurs, are right ahead of you. And obviously that ain't happening, but shame on us, because we're asking them to win the same amount of road games in 2 nights. We're asking you to win 2 road games in 2 nights, when after you beat Oklahoma City, you had won 2 road games in like 19 tries.
Well, as fans, I feel like we're allowed to ask them to do what they should do. We want them to win the games you're supposed to win. Yes, it's hard, but this is what you're here for. This is what we made those trades for. Get in a position to maybe make a run for this playing game. So the fact that you hadn't done it earlier in the season doesn't matter at this point. You've got new guys in the game. They've been with each other for a little bit of time now. Of course, it's still, we're still in a place where we have to figure this lineup out, when people need to be substituted and when people aren't producing. The bench was not great at all last night. So there are obviously a lot of things they have to figure out. But us as fans, I think we're allowed to have those kind of expectations. And I'm sure they had that for themselves as players. Probably until the middle of the third quarter, they had those expectations for themselves, and that's the hitch, that's the mountain, that's the thing we just can't get over. But we wouldn't be in that position if we didn't keep having those lapses where we allowed ourselves to dig those holes, and we make a run. Like Kenny said, we come back after the timeout, maybe we can get it. We work our ways back up the mountain, but it's like you've built it so high. You're running out of time. You're running out of mental energy to really overcome this, and that's what we saw last night.
Yeah, there's and the thing about it is, I agree with you, Olivia, where it shouldn't be out of the realm of reality to say, hey, win these next win 3 road games in a row. Like if you are talking about making the play in and, you know, you haven't given up on the season and things of that nature. Yeah, it's tough, but so what? Like life is hard. Basketball is hard. Like there's going to be anything that you ask that you're trying to be successful at and you ask these guys to do. Yeah, it's going to be tough. But if you really want to do it, if that's really what your goal is, you shouldn't be, and I'm not saying they are, but you shouldn't be intimidated. And us as fans shouldn't be apprehensive to ask them to do something that may be a little difficult. Yeah, go ahead. You got OKC, New Orleans, and San Antonio on this road trip. Go ahead and win 3 of those games. They weren't able to do it, obviously, but yeah, they should be asked to do those type of things if they put themselves in these situations to try and make the play.
And I think as fans, like anything we ask them to do is going to be hard because they haven't done it in 16 years. Mm-hmm. So if we say, like, hey, put a 10-game win streak, like every small thing we might think is something that they can achieve will feel big because it's been so long since they've had success like that. Mm-hmm. But I still think as a fan base anyway, and not to harp on this, but like we want to see those expectations met and not to continue to lower expectations for ourselves and for the organization. So, I mean, I'm hopeful that they'll get the win tonight. I feel like it's, again, a big emotional hurdle to get over last night. But again, that's what they're paid to do. Figure it out somehow. I don't know what it'll amount to in the end of the season. And, we probably are out of it. But prior to this hope of them taking that 3-game road trip, winning those 3 games, we just wanted to see them play better. Mm-hmm. Remember, it was like, make a run for the playing game, but if that doesn't happen, it's okay. But we want to see you play better. So I think that's what the biggest disappointment is, that you didn't play better last night. You can lose, but you can't lose like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's a damn shame. We're not even asking you to win. We're just asking you to not lose by freaking 30. That's so sad. You're listening to D-Lo and KC along with Olivia Christian here on ESPN 1320. KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, and Odyssey Station, and driven by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge. It's, by the way, March is Women's History Month, and I think of this line from the Camilla Johnson the poem that we aired last year that was at the Golden One Center. She said, as part of her poem, she said, "Why do you celebrate Black History Month? You're Black 365 days a year." And she said, "Yeah, but I'm extra Black for these 28 days." Are you extra woman for March?
I'm blackity black, and I'm womany woman. I don't know if that's a thing, but yeah.
We'll make it one. We'll make it a GIF.
I saw it on LinkedIn that it was like March 1st is declared Black Women's Day because of the crossover. I'm like, all right, I'll claim that. I'm down for Black Women's Day.
You just got one day, huh? They gave you one day.
All right. We're like I'm celebrating Black, I'm celebrating women, but today is Black Women's Day. I think that's cool. It's fine. There's lots of days. Dog days, ice cream days. We can have a Black Lady Day.
Yeah, might as well. They got flannel days. You might as well have a day celebrating. It's a true story. They got flannel days. You might as well have a day celebrating Black women. But in all seriousness, you own your story. Involves working with women. Are you like really locked into like this month? Do you guys do anything special this month for March or for Women's History Month?
Yeah, a lot of big organizations do a lot of events for Black History Month, Women's History Month, AAPI month. Like months is an easy way to kind of organize events around and try to find culture and community within big corporations. So they bring me in a lot early in the year. Start off the year, January, February, March are my busiest months. But it's good. It's fun. It's an opportunity for people to kind of be amongst their community and say what they need to say, let it all out. I think I mentioned this before. Sometimes some tears happen in those workshops that I put on, but I'm lucky to do it. I love doing it. And I really like Women's History Month, especially because there are so many different women from all different backgrounds around the world who come together to hear each other's stories and to find support. And I always say in the workshops, women are women's worst enemy. Like we make it hard for each other. And that, opens up to the larger conversation. But I want women to treat women better. Obviously, I want men to treat us better as well. But women are really hard on each other. Stand up! I heard that yesterday.
Oh, come on now. Come on.
Y'all be weak in the knees. Stand up. Stand up.
That second one is awesome. Stand up. Okay.
Why like that's been I mean, I don't remember who used to do it. I don't know, Comic View or Def Jam, but that's long been a bit about how like women are harder on women than men are. Why is that the case? I feel like that's the case, especially in like business.
Yeah, well, there's always this thought about how many seats are available at the table, right? And I think a lot of racial minorities deal with this too. They're only going to hire 2 blacks. So I'm going to be the one, and this guy, my friend, we'll bring them together, and then we'll shut everybody out. And women do that as well. I mean, the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action have been white women. And I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and they are also the biggest beneficiaries of the attention that has been brought to small businesses that have received funding. But I think they're still being very protective of that. And so it's difficult for them to create community, to step outside of their friend zones and create bonds across racial lines and age lines and industry lines. And so it's just a constant conversation. And so on top of that, I think it's kind of biology as well. I don't want to get in trouble here, but I feel like there's something going on in our DNA that makes it difficult for us. I don't think high school ever really ends for some women. There are girls that are 60, 70 years old, and they're like, dang, girl, can you just live at this point. But yeah, so
they made a TV show about it called The Golden Girls. We'll get into that in just a second. That was a great tie-in right there. That was a really good tie-in.
Yeah. So Women's History Month is an opportunity to kind of have those conversations, I think, at length and try to make some gains in that area in particular. Like the change has to start with you, ladies. So I call them out and call myself out when appropriate to make those kind of, again, avenues and opportunities to build each other up. So we're not all fighting for the 2 seats that are available. Create my own table and bring everyone along with me.
Help me out here if I'm wrong on this at all. But do you feel that women in the sports world are a bit of an exception? Because on the outside looking in, it feels kind of united. Like it feels like I'm just talking maybe reporting. You know what I mean? You see the Joy Taylors and the Taylor Rooks. Like seems like the women big up each other a lot in the sports reporting world because they know
Rachel Nichols on line 1.
Oh, well, yeah. Never.
Maybe she's the exception.
Maybe she's the exception. Dead that analogy.
Well, no, I mean, it's just like any other, like I said, sometimes you run into this with racial minorities. There's going to be, let's pick someone, a black guy that I can't think of his name now, who is anti-black, talking about sports. You know?
Whitlock.
Yes, Whitlock. I couldn't think of his name. Yeah, like you're like, there's an anomaly there who stands out. But in general, like I can understand from your perspective, it seems like we're all very united, especially on Twitter. It's like, hey girl, I got a raise, I got a new job. Yes. Of course, you don't really know. It's, social media can be very performative at times. Because you definitely don't want to seem like you're sour over that stuff. So you don't really know what's going on in the background. But, folks like Carrie Champion, Jamel Hill, like they seem like a genuine friendship. They seem to go wherever the other person goes because they're bringing them along. And I know there are a lot of women who do that for each other. In sports, it's really hard. Some of the biggest gains I've had in the sports industry have been because of women. And some of the biggest knockbacks I've had have been because of women and not for professional reasons. And you know how like you can tell when someone is treating you differently because you're black? I can tell when I'm being treated differently or discriminating against if I'm a woman or because I'm black. There's just a subtlety to it. So I felt that in dealing with sports and working with women, because it's another example of where there are only so many. There are only so many sideline reporters. There are only so many hosts. And I'm like, I'm actually not trying to be any of y'all. So don't freak out about that. But it's hard.
Yeah. We'll talk
Yeah, sorry.
No, I want to ask you about the WNBA story that came out this week, and I want to get back to the Kings. We got Give and Go with Maybach O. We got a lot more ahead. We're going commercial free till the top of the 4 o'clock hour when D'Lo, KC, and Olivia return here on Sacramento's #1 sports station, ESPN 1320. And then we'll come back with the friends.
Johnny. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna blow your mind with this one, Olivia. Johnny G. I don't think I've heard this one before. This is a bar. He says, oh, not you, Steven. Facts. If I've learned anything from Scooby-Doo is the villain isn't a stranger, but usually someone you know.
That is a bar. That's going on a tombstone right there. Hopefully not mine, but that's a good one right there.
That is a bar. Scooby-Doo out here teaching life lessons. Just that's like how people it's not really my bag. I mean, I really like the show, but I think it's, a little bit after me or before. No, after me. There are people who swear SpongeBob teaches life lessons.
I've never seen it before.
I've never seen an episode of SpongeBob.
Now, first of all, SpongeBob is hilarious. So there's it is super funny. But there's like people who are like, yeah, man, like SpongeBob, like you for sure, like they sneak little stuff in there that absolutely shows you like some life lessons or whatever. I'm like, what are you talking about? Most of the time, I think these guys are high. So what do you mean?
I like that there's a character named Patrick. Like, doesn't everybody else have like a weird under the sea name, and his name is just Patrick?
Patrick and what's this girl's name is Sandy.
Oh, okay.
Well, Squidward is a weird name. Squidward is the only weird name.
SpongeBob is a weird name.
Well, he's Bob.
That's true. Well, I feel like most cartoons and even like movies, animated movies, they throw in stuff like that for the parents at times just to get you through.
What was Jamie Foxx's joint on Disney?
Oh, Soul.
Soul? Oh my God. Good Lord. Did you watch Soul?
I haven't seen Soul. It's on my to watch list.
Phenomenal movie.
Man.
It won some stuff, yeah?
What's that?
Did it win some things?
I
think so. Yeah. I think Jamie Foxx did win some things for that.
I'm sorry,
yeah, man, that was
so weird.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah, SpongeBob, maybe some weird stuff.
I remember when
Plankton's restaurant name.
What happened?
The name of Plankton's restaurant.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what you're saying.
What?
Plankton's restaurant. The name of it, and I don't think it's actually pronounced like that, but when you see it when it's spelled, it's hilarious.
Oh dear.
I'll put it in the chat in a second.
Yeah, Sean, that's definitely Jamie Foxx. Phenomenal movie.
Yeah, there you go, Jacob Z. But it's not. It's like chum.
Yeah, I see.
But it's said as chum.
Yeah, that's what Jesse said it in my ear. That's not okay. This is not okay at all. Well, that's like Shrek. Like when you watch Shrek is a movie for adults. Like Shrek ain't for kids.
Wow. I like all these movies though.
When The Simpsons came out, I was pretty little, and it was like, Bart Simpson, dude, get away from me. And then you get older, you're like, oh, this is about Homer.
But
it's crazy.
Yeah, Homer takes over as the star of the show as it goes along. But like, so obviously I got a kid, and you watch these movies. Like, I love stuff like Zootopia. Zootopia was a great movie. Had a great message. Love Zootopia. And then what's the other one that I really liked? I like the Lego movie, the Lego Ninjago. That was a great movie. But there's a little stuff in there that, I think is super funny. He's like, why are you laughing at this? But I think it's hilarious.
My sister will say that too. She's like, the kids don't know what I'm laughing at. I'm like, what was that? Like, that was for me. That wasn't for you.
We Kenny and I were trying to learn TikTok.
Why?
Because we want to make videos where we hit the camera and we got a dope outfit on. So when you sign up for something, it tells you to like follow. One of the people I followed is my goddaughter. And then I just recognize, I don't know that I'm ready. I don't think I want to do this anymore. We're coming back. She ain't a little kid anymore. Streaming live on the Odyssey app for sure. 13:20 a.m. of course, but I can assure you, this is a very different show when you watch it. Because these commercial breaks, man, they delve down some interesting paths, including discussion of television geared towards children, like SpongeBob SquarePants and some of the different Scooby-Doo, I believe, is what launched the conversation.
That was a bar.
Soul, Zootopia, Shrek, all of that came up in the last 4 minutes.
Love Zootopia. And then you got your oh man, what was my movie, man, that I love where they did like the Day of the Dead. What was that movie?
Oh,
I have no idea.
that's recent, right?
Yeah.
Coco?
The little boy Coco.
Oh, that's Jesse.
Coco.
Jesse got that.
Oh my gosh, Coco was phenomenal. Oh, what a movie. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it.
Time for the biggest bar of the show, which is
this the one. It's gonna blow your mind here, Olivia. We got Give and Go with Maybach O, and we'll get back to the Kings and all that. But this gonna blow your mind.
So somebody earlier, I don't know how we got on this either, talking about TV shows and things of that nature. And they said Friends is a ripoff of Living Single. Now, they're 100% correct. I mean, Friends just ripped off so many things, but it was a ripoff of Living Single. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I said, to take it even further back, Living Single, I'm not going to call it a ripoff because it has its own vibe. It does its own thing. But I think it was inspired by the Golden Girls. I think it's a for the culture, Black version of the Golden Girls. And you see how the characters are laid out. They're carbon copies. Max is the old lady, the witty old lady who always has the one-liner. Blanche and Regine are the same person. Betty White and Kim Coles are the same character. And Khadijah and Dorothy are the same characters.
Yeah, I see that. It's just like Sex and the City. Sex and the City is the same. It's those same archetypes for those characters. Of course, the rest of like the theme around Living Single is nothing like Golden Girls. But yes, I see those.
They put their twist on it. They brought in Overton and Kyle and all that. They did their whole thing. But the premise is these four different women. Max didn't live there, but they basically had her living there. These four different women living together day in and day out.
It really is amazing how big of a ripoff Friends is of that show.
Oh.
It's like, how can we do this with white people? Like, I gotta, there's an ad. Like, if you ever watch this, what was I watching? It was something on Netflix. It was like a 90s pop thing. And there's one on Boys to Men, and they show an actual ad that says, we're looking for people who can sing like Boys to Men, but look like New Kids on the Block. Fam, that's pretty clear. That is crystal clear what you're looking for.
Yeah, if you think about like all entertainment, it's basically copy paste. As soon as they find a winning formula, they just do it all over again. Yeah. It's Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and they were you can go all the way back to the 50s and 60s. The same guys are doing the same moves and dancing and getting the girls who are 13 years old going nuts. It's like it's a formula, a win-win formula. This is how we know we can do it.
Then,
but I think I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to tell you the other one I threw in there too, but go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say.
Well,
Well, I was
don't
gonna
throw in
say,
the
like,
other one because the other one's just wrong.
Which other one?
Oh no!
You agreed with it.
With the show?
Yes.
Well, now I want to know what.
I said Martin is the Jeffersons.
Oh.
Martin is the Jeffersons. I feel like that meme, with that blonde lady and like the physics or the calculus, and she's like trying to figure out.
That is a pretty funny. I like that one because I don't know where that movie is from, but it fits.
It's there. There's no Sinead on the Jeffersons though, but
there is no Sinead on there.
It's there.
But he's got his friends. He's really cranky and moody, but the wife is always the calmer one. I don't know how you deal with him, and it's great.
Every sitcom dad is cranky, and the wife is like, "Come on, come on, Al."
Come on, Martin, stop it. Come on, Martin.
Yeah, it's always that character, and the man is always like funny, but he's curmudgeon, and she's like, "Come on, let's do stuff," and come on, and you're like, "Oh my god!" This is why I think men grow up not wanting to be married because they think all women are going to be like, "Come on," the whole time.
I do think we should take this opportunity to point out Martin in 2022 is really freaking cheesy.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Like every scene, it's Martin Lawrence on like 10. Why not? It's like, yo, nobody ever talked like that, like all of the time. Like Martin's talking like that the whole time. And I watched a few episodes. I was like, yo, I don't know if I'm gonna admit this in mixed company, but yo, this ages terribly.
Keep that to yourself.
Okay, I'll keep it. It's just family. It's just family. I keep it to myself. But that age is terrible.
We will not talk about the first 2.5 seasons of Martin that way ever.
Okay, all right.
I was gonna say it was like that in first season. I don't remember. I think he was just so new and loud.
Really, now, to Damien's point, the first season was just the very first episode, the first scene. Like he's on one. Like
he's such a character. Like it's so over the top. It's not realistic.
It was kung fu fighting. Yeah. That's the first scene when Gina's trying to get ready for work, and it was a lot. It was a lot. But we're not talking about that on the show.
No, we won't admit that. No one will ever find out. Give and go with Maybach O, one of our favorite times of the week. Olivia gives. And she goes. These are generally the goods and the bads. Olivia, what do we got this week?
I know everyone's feeling depressed right now, hopeless, but I want to see a win tonight. So give me a win, give me hustle, give me drive, give me smart basketball, good body language, assists.
Oh God, are we back to oh man, body language is back already.
We're looking at the body language, breaking it down.
Where your head goes is where your heart then follows, and lower and lower. Your head, your shoulders, your heart. If you feel like there is no, let's put that on a t-shirt. Yeah,
we can do that. We have
put it on the back.
We have a business
where the head goes, the heart will follow. Maybach O.
Yeah, so I want their heads to be up, their hearts to be open to the experience, all 4 quarters. And
they play basketball. We should that's a good call right there, Olivia. This is De'Aaron Fox last night when he was asked if there's bigger magnitude to that loss versus the Pelicans.
Definitely, being one of the teams that we're chasing, this is a game that we definitely needed, especially, if it were to come down to it and, we were to, have the same record as them, then you need tiebreakers and things like that. So, we got to let this one go, and we got another one tomorrow against a team that's ahead of us as well.
And let's run one more here. De'Aaron Fox again. How do they bounce back from that loss?
Like you said, you keep playing. You play into the last game of the season. So that's pretty much the mentality that you have to take. As a team, as a basketball player, you go out there to win every game. You go out there to get better every game. So that's our approach going into it.
I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
I feel like we've heard De'Aaron more depressed after victories this year So like I'm good. I'm you know, since we're talking body language, we got to talk tone and all of that different stuff. I'm good with the way that De'Aaron handled that last night.
I am too. And I feel like they want to make sure that this trade feels good and that it was worth the big emotional letdown we had because of some of the moves. So they're still like, yeah, we're in it. We're going to figure this out. They're not going to let themselves, you know, totally off the hook tonight and for the rest of the season, because that doesn't look good. Right. So they got to play tonight. They got to show up, and they've had some success with the new guys. So it's not as if they don't know how to do it. Although the Kings not knowing how to do it hasn't been the problem. It's just doing it and doing it consistently. Mm-hmm. So that's what they got to do tonight. What can go for me tonight, if you don't mind my going, is if the basket, like Mark Jones says, you know, there seems to be a lid on the basket at some point, and they just can't make shots. If your outside shot is not going down anymore, do something else. Don't just keep jacking up threes, especially those of you who know you shouldn't be shooting threes to begin with, because that's not your game. Make another pass. Now, of course, if you're wide open, it's likely because the other team knows that you're not supposed to be shooting threes. So sometimes you got to take that shot. But like last night, that first half, the ball was going in, yay, but it was also because it was created off of passing, being smart with the ball, making the good shot, not just the open shot, or even just taking the good shot, not just the open shot. So I wanted them to play with some eagerness to win tonight, with some energy, and to not be so stuck in this pattern of like, I give up, maybe we can get 20 points with this 1-3. You're not going to get back into the game that way. So play the small ball, keep running through the paint, pass, and you can stay in, or hopefully not have to climb out of the hole, but at least be in the game. And again, as fans, as I always say, we just want to see you trying, and that's enough.
Yeah. When you're kind of trying to coach a team, or you're out there playing or something like that, you think about what you're willing to give up, right, in certain situations. And I think other teams are looking at the Sacramento Kings and like, well, we can't let Fox get in the paint. We can't let Sabonis eat down there. They cannot get layups, because they get going when they start getting layups and cuts are going, things of that nature. So we'll pack it in a little bit. And what's going to be open is the wide open threes. And I understand everybody that says stop shooting threes, but that's the shot that's open. And it, like I said earlier, sometimes, because you guys are right, I understand what you're saying. Sometimes it's more about you have to make the shot as opposed to stop shooting it. Because what you're going to do, you're wide open, you're going to not shoot it and run right into four guys that are into the paint. Like that's also not going to work. They get the ball into Sabonis, they double team him, he makes the correct pass to get it out to a wide open shooter. They got to knock down the shot.
What about taking a dribble? What about taking a dribble 2 steps forward, shortening the shot a little bit, and pulling up? Now.
That's what I'm going to say. Take 2 steps in, because most of their shots are just right off the rim, which means they don't have legs. They don't have the energy. They don't have the motion. It's not. So take a couple steps in if you can and shoot that shot. But I'm with you, Kenny. What my next give me a bench that plays, that can hit shots when they're open. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, they're gonna triple team Sabonis. They're gonna get after De'Aaron and make it difficult for him to get in the paint. So the other 3 guys on the court have to be smart and have to hit shots. They're not. It's not enough to have 2. You've got to have an inside-outside game. But you can't just, get behind the 3-point line ready for Sabonis to chuck it out to you and keep missing. It's not that hard to take another step in.
You seem like you're against that. Like, why? I feel like you want to argue against that. Yeah,
I'm saying that's typically not. That's not usually what happens, right? Like you practice, you work on catching and shooting. That's
you got to be able to adjust, don't you? Like if you just miss shot after shot after shot and you feel things slipping away, you've just got to get a basket. Like we've been praising De'Aaron Fox for his mid-range game. DeMar DeRozan is the talk of the league because it's his mid-range game. You're talking about the paint being clogged. If you take a couple of steps forward and able to knock down a couple of mid-range shots, aren't you forcing that defense now to step out a little bit further to prevent that from happening and perhaps opening things up for Domantas Sabonis a little bit? You got to hit him. You got to hit the shot either way. Like
know,
that's the issue, and I get it.
All I'll say is that what you guys say in theory makes sense. Absolutely. It's not how it works. This is not how it works. Like, name the last time you guys saw that. Somebody's missing and they take 1, 2, they're wide open from 3. They don't take the 3. They take 1, 2, 3 steps in and shoot the mid-range shot. Maybe you can count on.
We don't see it watching this club because this club seems to think every 3 they're going to take is going to go in. They've shot themselves completely out of the game. There are teams who can keep the Golden State Warriors could take 1,000 open threes and miss them if they want to, but the Golden State Warriors can correct something on the defensive end. They can get stops on the defensive end. The Boston Celtics can miss 10,000 shots in a row, but they could get something done on the defensive end. If you are incapable, which the Sacramento Kings are, of getting anything done on the defensive end, you've got to find a way to do something on offense.
I understand, and what I would say is you got to get stops to get easy buckets in transition.
But you're going back to defense now. Now you're telling them to do something they have no history of doing.
That's how, if I'm telling you, if you want them to stop shooting threes, then that's the thing. Because number one, they're not all in the paint. All of the defenders are not in the paint, right? They're about where you would take a step in a dribble. And that's where they're at. Like when I coach, I would tell these guys, don't go past the 3-point line. That doesn't mean stand 13 feet from the basket. That means stand 17 feet. So if you're catching the ball in high school, you're 19 feet away from the basket, or 20 feet. If I'm catching the ball at the 3-point line and I'm 20 feet away and I'm not hitting, but he's giving me space to hit that shot, if I dribble in, now I'm dribbling into 17 feet, which is right where I just told this guy to stand. I told him, don't go to 20. As a defender, stay at 17. So that's what I'm saying. Like the dribble in, you're dribbling right into where the defense is. They're not just standing under the basket. They're standing to the point where you're open enough to shoot the 3, but we're not going to give you anything mid-range and closer. We want you to shoot the 3, not the mid-range. So I'm saying, like, that's where the defense is going to be. The next thing about that is you've got to get things that you're going to have to get. If you want to get to the basket and do all that, you're going to have to whip the ball around a little quicker, like Olivia was talking about, and look for angles there to attack the basket, catch guys closing out a little harder or not closing out in good defensive form so you can get around and get to the basket that way. But the passes that Sabonis kicked out from the double team and the guys wide open from 3, they're not, what you guys are saying makes sense. They're not going to not shoot the 3, take 2 dribbles in and shoot the mid-range.
Okay, well, then Kings lose by 20 tonight if they miss more than 2 shots in a row. So
I'm just saying
see you tomorrow at noon on
what I'm saying. In theory, it makes perfect sense, but that's just it just doesn't work that way.
Well, I hear what you're saying. Defense creates offense. If you're playing hard on defense, if you're getting the ball out of the net, or you're coming off a missed shot, you're getting it up the court quickly. Now you get to dictate the flow of the offense if you get down there quickly. And hopefully that flow means you're not running to the 3-point line so you can jack up a 3. Now you
run for layups. Run for layups, yes.
And they did that last night.
They did it the first half. That's what
right.
they did the first half.
That's right. They did it in the first half. That's right. Yep.
Yep.
And some of the threes they made were made by Harrison, and we had 1 or 2. But my point is, like, if you're not, and Kenny, you mentioned this, if you're not going to play defense the way you need to play defense, you can't play offense the same way. Because it won't translate. One, they're collapsing on Sabonis and De'Aaron. So the rest of the guys are just going to be open. But you're now starting your offense in a place where they're set. So you're limiting your options. So you have to get down there quicker. And for me, it's always like throw the ball up the court. After if you're taking it out of the net, throw the ball up the court. You don't have to dribble that one person. If it's Sabonis, if it's De'Aaron, it's Davion. Throw it up the court because you're not good in a set defense because your shooters aren't there. They don't show up consistently every night. So start the offense earlier. But I hear your point about them not taking a step forward. I mean, I think as a whole, the Kings just need to be able to develop a mid-range game. They got to have a guy, 1 or 2 guys that can hit those at least half the time. Last night was just unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
I could keep arguing about this. I won't, but it's fine. I get the point that you're making. I just don't know how, like, there's literally nothing they could do then. Because if you're a team, if you're a defense, and we all saw what we saw last night, you just if you're game planning, and maybe this is where coaching gets involved. If you're game planning, you just play, you do everything the Pelicans did in the second half because you know what's going to happen. This is what we talked about. That shot's going to stop falling, and the San Antonio Spurs or the Dallas Mavericks or the New York Knicks or the Nuggets or the Jazz or the Celtics, whoever, they're like, that's it. They've missed a couple in a row. Get up the floor. We could put them away. In 3 possessions, we could put this team away. Because the Kings probably will be down by 4.
Look, they'll try it, and if it works, great. But it's not. I don't think it's going to be a mid-range thing. It's going to be a situation where you work off Sabonis at the high post. You get back cuts, things of that nature. Now you can keep trying that. Now, if I'm coaching against the Kings, I just lock that up. I take away all the avenues for that, and I give them. You're going to give them something, even if like they're thinking the same way you're thinking. Like I told you, when I tell somebody to close out, I'm not going to say be 13 feet from the basket, be 17. So they don't have a place to dribble into. They either have to take that 3-pointer or they attack and you're in a good spot. Like defense is scouting and getting paid too. So they're going to give you, you're going to have a wide open 3 or you're going to try and beat me one-on-one. And then that becomes a situation where you don't have the ball players to beat somebody one-on-one. You don't have Brandon Ingram who can take 2 dribbles with somebody defending you and rise over the top at 15 feet away. And that's where you're lacking in the roster aspect. So to a certain degree with this roster, they're kind of stuck in a position where they don't have the people who can make those Brandon Ingram-like shots with somebody draped on them 15 feet away. And they're kind of forced to either get in transition, Fox is getting to the basket, Sabonis is killing, or they're hitting threes that night. Like, that's kind of the only ways they can win right now. Because then they don't even get to the free throw line enough because they don't have nobody who can create their own shot.
Well, I agree with you that they don't have the roster. To do all the things that we want them to do, they don't have the roster right now. But the way you make up for a lack of shooting is playing defense. We've been talking about this for months. This is how we entered the season, was like, yeah, we've got some shooters, but if you don't lock in a couple of stops and key moments to keep you in the game, then you've lost the whole thing. And now all of a sudden you've lost by 30, you've lost by 15. And Davion was going to be our savior because he brought the energy and he was going to inspire everyone else to do it. And he's done what he can. And
he's trying. Yeah. Him and Dante both are trying.
Dante, one of my gives is Dante. I like the energy that he has, the aggressiveness. He's a little nutballs every now and then, kind of running around crazy. But I prefer that to lackadaisical, to running behind the 3-point line and just waiting for an opportunity to take an open shot. I like the energy that he's bringing. And I think, like I said, the other bench players have to step up and make those shots, the ones that we're talking about. The only way to win is for that to happen. To stay in the game, at least, is to play defense so you can play your offense the way that you want to. In a way where you're not trapped into the paint, because now you've got options. You're starting your offense early on in the clock, and you can make the kind of shots that you want to make and take the kind of shots that are good for you. The ones that you know you can shoot. The ones you know that will go down.
The bench has been a little sketchy three of the last 4 games, with Oklahoma City being the exception. So you kind of got to take that for what it's worth. And they played well against Oklahoma City. Dante, I think it's easier. You mentioned Dante kind of running around crazy. Someone told me once, it's easier to tell somebody to slow down than it is to tell them to speed up. So if you kind of reel in some of those things about Dante, and again, that's the weird dichotomy with those two last night, because I do think I think overall both of them played pretty well defensively, but it became glaring. It's like, all right, they're defensive guys. Oh shoot, okay, we can't have nothing from you on the offensive end. Like we've got to be able to count on like a couple of things from you, especially if you're going to be, as you noted, camping out behind the 3-point line. We've got to get some of those to drop, and we know with both of those guys, they're capable. Got to get them on some sort of system. Like y'all can't go cold at the same time. Like this team is wild in the fact that it's like when one guy is off, like they're all off.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like when a couple of starters go out and you just have to hold your breath. Like who's gonna keep it down for us? At least keep us within distance that we can make up potentially. but it gets scary when everybody goes cold and everyone starts throwing up threes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got some more give and goes?
I feel like we talked through all of them.
Well, that's all right. That's what we do. We're a talk show.
Well,
That's
one of
all
mine
right.
was, well, a gift that I talk about all the time, or this, and we probably talk about it as a group together, is the strong starts to the quarters and closing out those quarters and the halves strong.
Mhm.
How you end it will dictate how you begin the next quarter. If you're limping off the court at the end, you've given up, it's like a minute and a half, you're like, well, we're about to go to halftime, it's fine. You start the third period the same way. So tonight, I'd like to see some strong starts and finishes. Hopefully, it'll be throughout the quarter, but that I think is very essential for the Kings, because if they don't end well, they don't begin the next quarter, the next half well.
Mm.
I got a Buffalo Bills league proposal here.
Oh no.
Yeah. Let's get rid of halftime.
Yeah.
I think I speak for all Sacramento Kings fans. Let's put together a proposal that just says, you know what? These are the best conditioned athletes. We don't. What's this for? Look, I know. We'll see the what's her name? The lady with the bike and the plates.
Yeah, the
Panda.
What is that?
We'll before the game, after the game, we're squeezing in those little 2-minute increments.
Coolio after the game.
We can see Coolio in the Delco. We don't need halftime. I'm gonna put together that proposal and get it to Chris Paul and Malcolm Brogdon and that crew and just tell them we don't need to do this anymore.
I like that though.
Do away with halftime.
I'm always concerned with what is being said at halftime, because even when they have a good first half, we had those third quarter series. It was like, what do they say? Is it are the orange slices spiked? They just come out?
I'm like, what's being said at halftime? Nothing. Nothing. All right, boys, get them slices and get out there and get some shots up. And that's terrible. I apologize to Alvin Gentry. I don't believe that that's true at all. But whatever's being said ain't working, whether it's by Alvin or by the players. It's not working.
Yeah.
And like, fam, the history of this is really long. You talk about there being some bad mojo over the Kings organization. Third quarter being an issue, that's not brand new.
No, not at all. It's gone on way too long. This spans different coaches, different players, different general managers. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Maybe we do need to get rid of Arco. And that'll change everything.
Bruh, I think you might be onto something. The second Arco Arena blows up, the Kings are going to be a winning team. Like, I know the big going away event is, what they say, the 19th?
Yeah.
Are they blowing it up the 20th? Because there might still be time if you blow that thing up on the 20th. It's probably the Clown Tunnel.
Yeah.
Oh, did you know there was a Clown Tunnel?
I'm scared. I'm already scared. Hearing clown and tunnel together.
You're not a clown person. You
No.
don't like clowns at all, huh?
Fam, there's a Clown Tunnel at the Arco Arena. At the old, well, I say the old Arco Arena. There's only one at Arco Arena. There's a Clown Tunnel, and I believe that I just gotta believe that that's part of the bad mojo that hangs over this franchise.
Wait, why do the clowns need a tunnel?
James explained it to us in one of the greatest hours, I think, in the history of radio when he explained. It has something to do with the circus. It had, like, the tunnel was there for like a specific reason, but it wound up not getting used. And then they started.
The tunnel was there because that was supposed to be a tunnel to the baseball stadium.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. The workers would use it.
Yes.
But the baseball stadium doesn't exist.
Right.
So now this is just a tunnel. And I guess the clowns, it was like the clowns used it when the circus was here.
And they painted a clown.
Yes.
Around
it's a very real thing.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Like, how could your franchise not be cursed when you've got that living in your city?
Just describing it, I'm like, this is the beginning of a scary movie. A clown tunnel, and it's painted on that. Like, that's
man. Arco got to go.
Blow that up, whatever it takes.
Arco got to go.
I think that's what it is. I now that we're talking through this live on the radio and there's no turning back, I think it's Arco. I think Arco has been the problem. It's not Vivek. It wasn't Buddy. It's not Matina. It's Arco. Arco's the problem. Everybody have your big fond farewell on the 19th. take 20 steps back and let's watch that thing blow up.
I'm gonna be there like
I want a live stream.
Joel Embiid posted when Ben Simmons got traded. Make sure it leaves. Standing there making sure that thing is gone.
I'll be like Bobby Jackson in the video where they filled, was it Jason Thompson's car with popcorn? They filled someone's car with popcorn and on the Dante Green show. And then the camera pans over and it catches Bobby with the window of his cars just slightly cracked, like peering out, watching everything happen. That's gonna be me. I'm gonna be out there across the street at the apartment complex in Natomas, just watching, making sure that thing's burning to the ground.
Make sure you go through the rubble and make sure.
No, I ain't doing that. I ain't gonna doing that.
What if there's like some wreckage that survives? The clown tunnel could survive. You've got to break it up or something.
That'll be a hospital's problem at that point.
When you don't fully kill the thing, that's how sequels happen. You think it's gone, but then they come back.
Well, they're here now.
You don't want to do it. I got it. But yeah, clown tunnel.
There's still. I haven't seen every inch of the Golden One Center, and I can't confirm there's not a clown tunnel there.
Well, there is a tunnel. We know that. I don't know if it's a clown tunnel. If there's clowns, but there's a tunnel from the arena to the Sawyer.
Yeah. That's well, I mean, not all of us have access to that tunnel. Obviously, my partner does. I ain't never been granted access to that tunnel. That's got the special parking lot. It's where all the Maseratis and the Range Rovers and the Teslas go. Yo, I'm regular dude who parks in the garage. So me and I just only one of us here has access to that special tunnel.
Hey man, I don't even know how I got over there. I was lost.
Yeah, right. Whatever you say, bro. Whatever you say, bro. Oh, are we at the point like? I mean, it was a package deal. Are you just watching? How are you watching the game tonight? Like, is it just? Are we evaluating games now, like in singular form? Like, no more package deals, no more. Oh, they got a nice little win streak. No, we're just looking at one game, evaluating that in it by itself, and then we'll look at the next one, evaluate that in it by itself, because the only thing that's going to change right now are lottery odds, ping pong balls.
I think it's day by day, game by game. But it's not just about the win, right? It's also about the team chemistry. And
it might be more about the loss at this point. That's a tight race for ping pong balls.
It is.
Well, whatever happens on the court, if we get a win or a loss here, I'm looking for the signs of hope for next season. Yeah. And thinking through who could come in and hit the mid-range shot or, play lockdown defense, things that we can depend on.
I think there's a big roster retool coming this season. I do think I think it's De'Aaron DeMontis, and I actually think it's Harrison Barnes also. I think there has to be a hell of an offer that changes Monty McNair, or I shouldn't say changes Monty McNair's mind. I haven't talked to Monty McNair. I don't know what his thinking on this is, but you would really have to move me to acquire Harrison Barnes. But everything else, man, including Davion Mitchell, I feel like the whole conversation and the pick. Yeah. And I like Davion, by the way. And I said this earlier, I would like to see Davion start at the two alongside De'Aaron Fox with Domantas Sabonis. And I'm fine if you keep Trey Lyles there and Harrison Barnes is also. But you said this yesterday. That pick might be the most valuable asset the Kings have right now.
Yeah. I'm glad they have it. I'm glad we have some ability to make some moves that will really impact the team next year. Here's hoping that happens. I mean, I don't know. It's an emotional roller coaster. I'm like, yes, things can. Maybe
Kings fan. That's being a Kings fan.
But like I said, it's day by day, it's game by game, and I think it's really just as fans getting excited by what could be. That's the only way you stay a fan, is by what could be, because what is not happy. So it's like we were talking about the sports broadcaster. Maybe this is a Twitter conversation. And they're like, oh, Buddy could get hot anytime. I'm like, I don't want to hear about Buddy being able to get hot at any point. Yeah. But it's not their fault, right? They want you to keep watching. So they have to give you hope. And the team has to give us hope by playing out the rest of the season in a way that we want to show up on game day. Preseason, summer league, all that stuff. You want us to stay engaged. That's what's going to take. Although I feel like Kings fans will watch anyway.
They will. They'll be frustrated. Yeah, we'll all watch.
That's not.
We'll all watch. We'll be frustrated, but that's really the best thing about Kings fans. And like we'll watch, we'll be frustrated, we'll be angry, but we'll do it together. So like you always, yeah, you always have a shoulder to come cry on. And so whatever happened last night, that was last night. Or as Olivia would say, that was the game last night. Work that in. That's branding right there. Branding 101.
There we
go.
go.
Game last night.